Hello, I'm Katie Gates, and welcome here to the Whole Agenda. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, I want to talk about the power of words. We've heard that saying time and time and time again that there's power in words. There's power in the words that come from our mouths, and those words can either hurt us or help us. But today I want to talk about the words that we heard when we were children. See, it's not like being an adult. We know that as adults, words can have a negative impact and they can have a positive impact. So for instance, if you see yourself in a negative light, you are going to receive negative things. If you see yourself in a positive light, you're going to receive positive things. It's kind of like the art of manifestation, and we know what that is. When we see something in a positive light, it's going to come to us, right? But think about the words, not the ones that you're speaking to yourself today as an adult, but the words that you heard when you were a child, and how the negative words are still crippling you today in your adulthood. Because sadly, there's words that were said to us umpteen years ago that are still crippling us or keeping us in bondage, holding us hostage today. So for instance, if your mother, father, grandmother, soccer coach, teacher, whomever said something to hurt you when you were a child, you may still be suffering from those wounds or that wound today. Because if we're honest, a lot of people are. A lot of the world is suffering, is remaining stagnant in life due to words that came from the lips of another human being. And I don't say that lightly, but I want us to think about what I'm saying. A lot of us are still held captive. We're in bondage. We're stagnant in life. And it's all because we're letting the words of another human being keep us there. Yes, we know words hurt. Words are almost like living things. And to me, they really are. Because we can spew them from our mouths and they remain active for a very, very long time. And only something living can do that. So to me, words are living things. However, when they start to keep us in bondage, right? We're held hostage by words that your mama said or your daddy said or your grandmother, your teacher, whomever. We're letting those words keep us bound. And that's not a good thing for life, right? We all know that as individuals. I apologize, I kicked my camera. We all know that and understand that as individuals, but some of us are operating in life and have no idea why we can't make it to the goal that we've set for ourselves, or we have no idea why some days are good and some days are bad. It's kind of like that up, down, and all around, position that a lot of people are in life. Most of that comes from or stems from trauma or wounds from childhood. So for instance, if your mother looked at you and said, "You were a mistake. I wish I'd never had you." Or your father looked at you and said, "I don't want you," and leave. Those are all things that really are crippling to children. Been there, done that. I suffered from major rejection wounds as a girl, even somewhat into my adulthood. Being rejected as a child is a serious, serious wound. So I can't sit here and lie to you and tell you that it's not a real thing, because it's real. But healing from those things, from those wounds, are real as well. But in order to do that, we have to understand that if your mother looked at you and called you something derogatory to whom you were when you were a child, we have to understand, or you have to understand, that has everything to do with her and not with you. If your father looked at you and said he doesn't want you or this or that, that has everything to do with him as a person, nothing to do with you. Your love, I don't care if you showered him with thousands of gallons of love, some of your own and some that you borrowed. That wouldn't change him unless he decided to change himself. That's why it has nothing to do with you or whom you are. It has everything to do with the person that hurt you. Because if we think about the words that came from the mouth of another human being to a child, and those words were derogatory, they were said to hurt you, we have to understand where that person's mindset is and where their heart is. Not in a good place. Not in a good place. In a deep, dark place and space. And no, that's not an excuse, but I want us to learn to look at the situation from new angles, from a different lens, from different perspectives, and understand that the childhood trauma that your mother put you through, or your father, your grandmother, your teacher, or your soccer coach, whomever, that it had nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. See, when someone can look at a child and say something or do something to purposely hurt a child, think about how they feel about themselves. There's no love there. And because there's no love there, they can't understand love. And if they can't understand love, they can't give love. If there's no love there, they can't love themselves. And if they can't love themselves, they definitely don't understand it. And if they don't understand love, how can they give you love? I mean, they can pretend. A lot of people pretend. But at the end of the day, it fades away because it's not real. It's just pretending to be something or pretending to know how to do or give something. When people purposely hurt a child, whether it's words or touching or anything, they are very unhappy people and they are in dark places. If your mother looked at you and called you a derogatory name or said she didn't want you or said something like you were a mistake, trust me when I tell you that your mother may not have been in a good place. In fact, I can almost guarantee you that she was in a state of misery, of darkness. And we all know how misery behaves, right? Misery yearns to be seen. It yearns to be heard. It's living. And what does it do when it's seen and when it's heard? It wants everybody else to be miserable with it. So therefore it does and says things to create chaos in the air to bring forth more misery to the crowd or the circle or whomever is in misery space. Because misery yearns to be seen, yearns to be heard. And something that I say a whole lot about misery is misery does not have to be spoken to be known. Our actions show if we're a genuinely happy person or not. Because misery speaks without speaking at all. That's the power that it holds. So if your mother or father or whomever did something to you that's still keeping you bound, holding you captive today, start looking at that thing from a new perspective and ask yourself, why on earth am I allowing the words of another human being to affect me this much? Why on earth? And honestly, a lot of the times when people hurt children, if you look back on their life now as an adult, you'll see what you didn't see then. You'll see their anguish and their pain and their misery. And a lot of the times those people are not in a good place, even now when you're in your adulthood. So can you imagine the torture and the torment that they were dealing with, they were battling and fighting when you were this high as a child? Because see, all of that lingers with the person if there's no healing that has taken place. So once again, I challenge you to look at that person, truly see them through a new lens, and ask yourself, why on earth am I letting so-and-so who probably don't, have nothing together, and I'm not wishing that on them, because if that is the case, we know that we pray for them, but I'm being very real with you. A lot of the people that have hurt you today are a mess. A mess. And so yet again, you have to ask yourself now, because you can see, you can understand as an adult, why on earth am I letting the words of that she said or that he said or that they said affect me this much? Why am I letting their misery that spoke to me out loud hinder me this much? See the difference? When you start seeing that thing, that pain from a new lens. Like I said, it's no excuse, but this is not about them. It's to help you. It's to help us see things from a different lens, from new perspectives. When we start seeing that, my, healing now has a pathway to come forth and to take place. Because like I said before, a lot of the times the people that hurt us or tried to injure us or, said something, spread rumors, whatever, when we were children, were not happy people. Were not. And unfortunately, a lot of the times when those people get older, they're still not happy people because they're dealing with the burdens or the thoughts, the memories of what they did to you when you were a child. And I can say that because I've experienced that firsthand. Now multiple times in my adulthood. And I'm sure it's true for you as well. And don't get hung up on wanting an apology. Most of the time, from a psychological standpoint, I'm probably going to say 80, maybe 90% of the time, an apology may not come. But that's why I said looking at this thing from a new angle, new perspectives. Because even if that apology never comes, and it may not, you have to understand the mindset that that person was in. Torment, darkness, misery, unhappiness. And when people are in spaces and places of the such, they're angry. They want to take out their pain on everybody and their mama. And most of the time, they take it out on the people closest to them because we become a constant source, a constant outlet for their anger, their pain, their misery, their unhappiness, their choices or the lack thereof in life. Because life is a series of choices. That's what life is, a series of choices. The choices we make, that depends on the life that we have. So I just hope that this has helped you. That's the overall goal of this video, to help us see the pain, the memories that took place when we were children that are still haunting us today. It helps us release those memories when we start looking at the pain from a new perspective. So, and I can say this in pure honesty because I've been there and I've done that. And I'm truly healed from it. I'm truly healed from it. See, there's a difference to be healed and then to pretend to be healed. Because when you're healed, it's not that those thoughts don't come. They come, but as fast as they come, they leave. That's true healing. Because now those negative or painful memories no longer control you, you control them. That's healing. That's the kind of healing that we all want, that we all should want, and that we all should be working and striving toward, right? So remember to look at your pain, those people from a new angle, a new lens, a new perspective. And ask yourself yet again, who are they and why does it matter? You know, why should their words matter to me now that I'm an adult? Words hurt, we know, I know. But we have to get to a state, a point in our adult lives and say, you know what, it's time to release this. It's time to let this go. This has no right to keep me captive and bound and stagnant. I have to release it. And the only way I release it is if I understand where those people were in life. And like I said, if you look at a lot of them still today, if they're still around, you'll see where they were in life because a lot of them are still there. See, that's the sad part about the thing. If healing doesn't come forth, right, a lot of those people are still there in that pain, in that misery, in that darkness because they have not sought healing. So I just pray that this has helped you today. I know it has helped me. If you like the video, please leave me a comment. I love to read them and respond to them. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. I think it's here or over here somewhere. I don't know, but you know where it is. Hit the notification bell because I upload every week. And you don't want to miss the great content that's coming up. So yet again, I'm KD Gates. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I love you. Bye.